A real nice dessert for what has been a fantastic full plate of college basketball. Tonight it's in the Valley. The Illinois State Redbirds hosting the Valparaiso Crusaders. Mitch Holtis with you, along with Malcolm Huckabee. And the Illinois State Redbirds have the only player in the country that averages 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists.
Malik Yarbrough does a little bit of everything for this Illinois State club, coming off a huge performance where he had 20 points and 13 boards, and he leads the team in assists. He is a key guy for Illinois State.
And Illinois State has their own Mount Rushmore. And this guy is leading the way. Put Dan Muller up there, their head coach, as the fourth face. But do they need all 3 of these guys to hit to be at their best?
Yeah, and Phil Fain attacks the offensive glass. In his last game against UNI, he had 7 offensive boards. That's going to be a key theme for Valpo, keeping Phil Fain off the offensive glass.
That 3 good for 6th in Valley history as a trio. This league's been around since 1907. First possession of the game belongs to the Illinois State Redbirds. Tom O'Neill, Ray Natili, and KB Burnett Jr. working the game. And here's your starters for Valparaiso. And you got some experience here in the guard position, especially with Tavon Walker.
Yeah, he is a key guy, in particular on the road. I think turnovers, that's going to be a key theme. They cannot turn the ball over on the road.
And can they force some? They forced the early turnover in this game. And here's a look at the Redbirds starting 5. We mentioned the main 3. David Njai will be in the post tonight to start the game. And then Madison Williams, who had 14 in their victory over Ole Miss earlier this season. And 6 to shoot now for Valpo. Look at Phil Fain. 150 offensive rebounds over the past year and a half. There's some good rebounders in this league, including Alize Johnson of Missouri State, but Fain will chase misses.
Relentless is the best word to describe him on the offensive glass.
Tonight we will track turnovers for both of these teams. When they get in trouble, they get too many turnovers, but there's a nice 3 from Madison Williams.
And that's a beautiful setup by Malik Yarbrough. And that was a concern for Valpo, keeping Yarbrough out of the lane. He is such a good passer when he's able to break down the defender, as you saw on that last possession.
Yarbrough second in the Valley in assists, gets 5 per game, even though he averages 17 points a game. With good early defensive awareness, Keyshawn Evans, a quick 3 with no rebounders. Fain almost got there. And then Rick Smith's son, Derek Smits, gets the Valpo rebound.
Yeah, nice job cleaning up the defensive glass that time, blocking out. If you're Illinois State, you don't want to fall in love with the 3 ball. They only went in their last game to the free throw line 7 times, so see if they can get some stuff going towards the basket.
Yarbrough able to tip his own miss in, and he can also rebound, Malcolm. He averages 6 boards a game to go with all of the other numbers he puts up every night.
We talked about his numbers right off the tip, and he is just such a difficult matchup. And again, he does a little bit of everything. He can score. I think where he makes his team better, his ability to set up his teammates for some wide open looks.
Smith's one-on-one and Njai with enough defense there, and so Valpo having a tough time getting decent looks early. And Yarbrough again on the tack. And a look at Dan Muller, a hero here at Illinois State, a great player here. Part of 3 Valley championships in a row and a Sweet 16 run when he was a player. 78 wins in the last 3.5 seasons for Dan Muller. Last year was the Valley Coach of the Year and a Valley Co-Championship. And then Matt Loddick on the other end, the Valpo head coach. Great player as a high school player in the city of Chicago. Went to Stanford, played for Mike Montgomery, 10 years as a pro overseas in his second year as the Valpo head coach. He is the first head coach of Valpo not named Drew since 1988.
And both these guys could ball. Both of them played for a paycheck overseas. I'm not sure who I'm taking in this one right here. You talked about Muller, a two-time Defensive Player of the Year in the Valley.
Let's take a look here. The officials have gone to the table.
Yeah, and I think that was a basketball move. Again, he's trying to get by. And anytime, though, there's contact above the shoulder area in that head right there, yeah, he definitely got him right on the chin, but I don't think that was intentional. And I think that's probably what they're looking at right now, what the intent was.
And we'll get an explanation here. Illinois State, there's Raina Teeley, the veteran official.
So we just got confirmation that that's what they looked at, and they said it was a basketball play. And I think a good call by the referees.
Evans goes down and might have been injured on that hard curl on the dribble. Smith's using the left fake. We saw him do this a week ago at home where he had 14 points against Loyola in a career high.
Yeah, and they need to continue to go at him. We called that game, and they went away from him. He started off strong, and then during the middle of the game, they stopped going to him and were settling for threes. I think Smith's is going to be the key matchup for them early on in this game. Get the big fellas some touches.
Now he gets a foul on the other, and he gambled on the post defense. It's a good Redbird post entry to Phil Fain. Again, his dad, Rick, the famous NBA All-Star for the Pacers, 12 years in a terrific NBA career.
And the second overall pick in that 1988 draft, and only behind Danny Manning, but I love Rick Smith. He could flat out play on some of those great Indiana Pacers squads along with Reggie Miller.
And Fain hits the shot for Illinois State. That's his range. He had 11 of 12 in that similar range against Southern Illinois. That was the top 10 performance, one of the top 10 performances in the country. And Tom O'Neill's going to ride up Yarborough here. A little too much body on a driving Malik McMillan of Valpo. Great pass. Evelyn finding Schmitz, who has all 4 of Valpo's points.
That's just a beautiful interior pass, little wraparound off the nice penetration. And again, they continue to go at Schmitz, and he continues to deliver early on in this game for Valpo.
Fain able to work his way inside to get his second field goal in his many trips.
Fain came into this game shooting 65% from the floor. I'd say that's pretty efficient.
Boy, Smith's being very aggressive here to try to give Valpo a shot. Unique entry for the Illinois State Redbirds, part of a tradition in a big game at Redbird Arena.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100%. And in part by Bayer Aspirin. Learn more at BayerAspirin.com.
Welcome back to our Saturday showcase presented by 5-Hour Energy. Illinois State leading Valparaiso here 9-4 in Normal, Illinois. Mitch Holtis with you along with Malcolm Huckabee. One thing that's interesting about the Valley is to see where it ranks No bad teams this year in the Valley. They have had a great non-conference, and everybody's kind of holding their own here in this league.
Yeah, a couple of big wins. We got an Illinois State team that's gone on the road. We're going to have a game tomorrow that we're going to call. Loyola beat number 5 Florida at the time on the road without one of their better players. So you're right, in this league, not really any easy outs.
Only 1 of 5 leagues. The other 4 are all power leagues, Power 5 leagues. The other 4 and all above 174 here in the RPI. You see Valpo 2-7 in the league, dropped to 174, but they started the season at 8-0. And you mentioned tomorrow, you and I'll have on ESPNU at a 4 o'clock Eastern time start, the Loyola Chicago Ramblers of Porter Moser, and look out for them. If you're trying to look for bracket busters as we close out January, the Ramblers should be on that list.
Would not be surprised to see if they get in to the dance to win a couple of games in the NCAA tournament. They are very good.
Boy, a banked in shot from the top. Valpo would take it. Marcus Golder, we saw him have a big game at 18 against Northern Iowa. And an offensive foul. Illinois State called for the illegal screen. Elijah Clarence.
Well, I like what Valpo's doing starting off this game. Defensively, they've been sound. Also offensively, I've liked their patience. They've been not settling for threes. They've worked the ball down low to their bigs, Smits, and then defensively, they're cleaning up on the defensive glass.
Heome Soroya is in now at the pivot after they had started Smits there, and were playing through him actually to get the first 4 points of the game. Fain, the 4th leading rebounder in the league, able to clear the zone for the Redbirds. Matt Loddick has to like what he sees from his team defensively. Yarbrough's setting down right now. So is Keyshawn Evans, who was injured a little bit, but looks like he's ready to come back in.
A lot of contact on that drive, no call. But back to your point, that's what Matt Loddick wanted. We talked to him today at shoot-around. He said, look, for us, we can talk about the offensive numbers. And yes, that has been an issue as well at times, but he said the biggest thing for them is the breakdowns defensively. We got to do a better job defending the three-point line, but also stopping dribble penetration.
And for Dan Muller, his task is trying to get the Redbirds to stay away from the deadly run. A reminder, ESPN has 2 great games this week on Big Monday, presented by Joseph A. Bank. First at 7 Eastern, Notre Dame takes on 4th-ranked Duke at Cameron. Duke lost today at Cameron to Virginia. Then at 9, a big-time Big 12 matchup. The hottest team in the Big 12 right now is actually K-State, and they'll host 5th-ranked Kansas in the Sunflower Showdown. Both games can be seen on the ESPN app. With both Kansas and Kansas State winning for the Big 12 and the Big 12 SEC Showdown today, although the SEC with a late rally to win. And a late dribble here by Devon Walker. Devon Walker gets his first basket of the game. Walker can score big. And a quick answer for the Redbirds.
Well, that's just a breakdown by Valpo. One of the better three-point shooters in the Valley. And you cannot let him come off pick-and-roll situation like that with that much airspace.
Walker goes right after the big David Injay and draws the foul on the 7-foot Redbird.
So oftentimes with pick and roll defense, it comes down to communications, but also having bigs come out and being able to hedge on ball screens. That time, the last possession for Valpo, they weren't able to get out and hedge, and Keyshawn Evans made them pay with the 3.
Walker 78% at the line. In a game at Bradley, he was 10 out of 10. As McMillan comes back in for the Crusaders. But I ask you about Valpo was doing such a good job on half-court defense. Then they get Walker with the dribble drive score. Then they kind of go to relax, and Illinois State hits them with the quick basket.
Yeah, consistency. And, again, that's really, what Coach Loddick and staff is trying to get with his guys. Again, it's the inconsistency. A couple good plays, and then they have these lapses. So they need to focus for 40 minutes, and particularly here on the road against Illinois State.
Well, Yarbrough quick. What a terrific first step. Second field goal for Malik Yarbrough. Was gigantic in that win at Ole Miss. 25 points, 10 boards, and 8 assists. Almost had a triple-double against the Rebels.
I really loved talking with this young man today after shoot-around. His dad was a star here at Illinois State. We're going to get into that a little later, but certainly one of the more talented players in the Valley, and one of the more difficult matchups as well.
Yarbrough started his career at St. Louis University. He was All-Atlantic 10 freshman team. And now here at his father's alma mater. And Phil Fain has been effective early, Malcolm.
And Valpo has not had an answer for him. Illinois State doing a nice job with some interior passing, and then Fain's just finishing.
Athletic tip in. Marcus Golder, the junior college transfer from North Idaho, flies in the lane to give Valpo 2 more.
This is the key matchup right here. Valpo, how they defend Malik Yarbrough. Can they keep him out of the lane?
And Yarbrough walks. Valpo actually ran 3 guys at him.
Well, his dad, Dell Yarbrough, scored over 1,000 points at Illinois State. He would be proud of this move right here. Little hezzy cross with the finish. Malik Yarbrough.
Illinois State leads by 4, 18-14. Their big 3 has combined for 15 of the 18, and leading the way, Malik Yarbrough, one of only 13 players in Division I, Malcolm, that's top 10 in conference points, rebounds, and assists, and his father would be very proud of him.
He would. His father, Dell, who passed away, was a star player here at Illinois State, scored over 1,100 points in his career, and when I spoke to Malik this morning after shoot-around about his father and sharing some stories, his eyes just lit up. He talked about what his father meant to him, all the stories. And he also got in there. He said, look, I beat him when I was in the 8th grade. I couldn't beat him up in the 10th. I beat him in the 8th grade, and from there, the rest is history. But I know his dad is smiling down on this young man, and he'd be very proud of the career that he has put together for Illinois State.
Yeah, he lost his father not that long ago, and it's been tough on Malik dealing with the absence of his dad. You know, it's interesting. He's talking about he always played against the bigger kids, Malik. And he's like, why am I out here with these? They're all better than I am. And his dad's like, deal with it. Figure it out.
He also talked about the impact that his dad had on a lot of his friends in the neighborhoods that were unfortunately didn't have a father like he did, and really just impacted so many lives. Really just an enjoyable young man to talk to.
He is so good at seeing the floor. Right there, perfect example. Fain runs to the rim, and Yarbrough finds him, and a foul on Bakari Evelyn, the Nebraska transfer for Valpo.
Well, we showed the numbers. When Yarbrough plays well, their win percentage goes up, and he's so key. He handles the ball so much. We talked about it. He leads the team in an assist, and just does a little bit of everything.
Fain gets his 7th point. It's big when he hits a free throw. He's a great offensive rebounder, not so much at the line. 48%, which is about his career number. But you look at last year to this year. Now let's keep in mind, in case you have forgotten, last year it was Illinois State left at the altar on Selection Sunday. 28 wins, 33 RPI. Paris Lee, one of the great guards in the country. And they got left out right at the end, the last team out. They won 1 game in the NIT, lost a heartbreaker here to UCF, but they would have entertained the University of Illinois in this arena to go to Madison Square Garden.
I would just say it was a shame. Really, that's, I could use stronger words, but a shame that they were not in the dance last year. The numbers that they put up, the season they had, really more than deserving.
And now some confusion on an inbounds play, and Evelyn's has got to get a layup. And Dan Muller's incensed. There was confusion on who should get the ball, and Valpo tricks Illinois State here into 2 points.
not sure I've ever seen a sequence like that where there's just confusion and Illinois State, nobody back. They thought they had the ball.
I think Illinois State thought it was their ball, and then they gave it to Valpo, and Evelyn just ran to the other end to lay it in.
Unlike rec ball or bitty basketball, the referees are not they're not going to tell them. They're just going to hand it, and it's up to you to figure it out. But really a bizarre sequence.
Here comes Yarbrough, so good in the open floor. He's unstoppable when you get him in that much space.
I mean, he's just making it look easy with the little Euro step and finish with nice touch.
Evelyn able to float it in the lane. Valpo needs to get him going. 17 in the second half against Northern Iowa in a rally that came up just short.
And Evelyn, he's playing really well for Valpo, particularly shooting the ball as Illinois State just continues to get way too many uncontested layups. And that goes to the breakdowns Coach Loddick was talking about, where the inconsistency, they cannot continue to give Illinois State this many easy buckets.
Is Valpo getting out of position? Are they losing rotation? What's going on?
Well, I think it's a couple of things. Right now, it's the dribble penetration. That was much better. But you got to stop ball penetration.
Let's go back to the inbound situation. Illinois State thought they were going to get the ball.
And so it looks right here. All right, now there's some confusion in terms of whose is off. So right now it looks like he's pointing at it's Illinois State ball.
So they think they're going to get it. Then he goes, whoop, nope, Valpo.
And I think in that situation right there, they need to clarify in terms of whose ball it is, because clearly in that replay right there, it looked like they were saying it's still Illinois State ball.
I mean, Keyshawn Evans was walking out of bounds, getting ready to throw it. Credit Bakari Evelyn, though, for being alert. Hine had to pull, shot an air ball, and now a foul on Illinois State's Elijah Clarence, his second. Illinois State with some skilled offense, especially from Malik Yarbrough. They lead by 6 at home. Illinois State leading 24-18 here. But there was some confusion. 2 of Valpo's 18 came on this. And Malcolm, both teams thought they should have the ball.
Yeah, clearly, you'll see right here in the video, it looks like the referee points where it's still Illinois State ball. Then he changes his mind really quick. And it was just confusion all around. And then during the break, my goodness, the fans... not happy.
But this is Tom O'Neill. The official that was involved in the play was KB Burnett. And so, Tom, I think you remember the old song, Bad Bad Leroy Brown? I think it was written about Tom O'Neill, because he's just tough Chicago dude. Okay? He's going to take no lip. He's like, hey, it wasn't me, man.
Fans are like, you got stripes on? We're giving it to you. We don't care if you made the call. But certainly that could wind up being a potential issue at the end of this game, giving up 2 free points to Valpo on that play.
Contact and now a foul on Valpo. It's on Golder. That's his first.
Both teams, I like the coaching changes in terms of changing up their defenses. And so they've gone man, and then they've gone to some zone and also some three-quarter court pressure. Both teams giving each offense different looks.
Boy, Valpo's not backing down, and a forced 3 by Evans. He had plenty of time on the shot clock, and yet they rescue the possession. And Boogie Tinsley's fouling now.
Well, Mitch, I'm really impressed with how Valpo has blocked out on the defensive glass. They've done a really nice job coming up with some defensive rebounds and also getting some over-the-back calls, because they're doing a nice job blocking out.
The only problem for Valpo has been Fain and Yarbrough of Illinois State. They're a combined 8 of 10 from the field, Malcolm. And they're both sitting down right now, so Dan Miller trying to give them a little rest. And some pressure here shown in the backcourt by the Redbirds.
Now they fall back into the matchup zone. So again, another look, different look on defense for Illinois State.
We saw them working on this pressure today at practice. That kind of even fun. Valpo thought they got hit on the shot, no call. Redbirds a little impatient here the last couple possessions.
Yeah, they have not had the last 2 possessions good looks. Quick, early in the shot clock, contested threes.
Ashman doesn't get it. And Dan Miller cannot get Malik Yarbrough and Phil Fain in the game soon enough. They're standing waiting for the dead ball to get in. Soroya, tough play. They can't get it to fall. Soroya had a big game against Utah State and Southern Illinois, but he's frustrated so far tonight.
And that's all set up by Njai. David Njai really provides that post-defensive presence for Illinois State. Now, although he didn't get a block, he changed 2 shots on that play right there by Valpo.
Valpo just 8 of 23 from the field, but their defense is keeping them in it. And Kaiser down, some floor burn action. A reminder this week on NBA Sunday presented by State Farm, Joel Embiid. Ben Simmons and the Sixers take on Russell Westbrook of the Thunder. Get this, OKC has won the last 17 against Philly. And that's Sunday at 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific on ESPN and also on the ESPN app. It's a different Sixer team now right now.
Well, for me, though, it's all about Russ. I love watching Russell Westbrook play. I mean, you talk about a guy that's just a double-double machine, and he attacks the rim angry.
And the thing is, he'll get all of his, but he makes everybody else get theirs.
He is just a nightmare matchup, so explosive, and when he's knocking down jumpers, he's almost unguardable.
I don't think he has any lactic acid in his body. He never gets tired, does he? Well, Illinois State has been settling here for some contested long threes.
And nobody on the offensive glass, and that was a key coming into this game. Can Valpo rebound? Illinois State does a nice job crashing the offensive glass, and so far, check it off, Valpo's done a nice job.
Smits had some early. Now he gets this 2 to fall. 6 in the first half for Derek Smits. And here's Valpo not shooting it at all, and you're within 4 going back to what Matt Loddick was emphasizing. So we'll win this game whether we shoot it great or not.
I know his dad, Rick Smits, is enjoying watching his son's progression. He has just continued to get better on the offensive end, and I think Valpo needs to continue to go at him.
Evelyn steps. And Matt Loddick didn't like the call. Hey, sometimes you just got to grind it out. Ask Virginia. They won a Duke today and didn't shoot it well. Matt Loddick's team staying in the game with the D. Hey, tonight after the X Games on ESPN, be sure to tune into SportsCenter with John Anderson and Kevin Connors. They'll break down the Steph Curry, Kyrie Irving clash, Warriors against the Celtics. And then, what we learned today from Tiger Woods, he played his first Saturday on tour in more than 29 months. And the Big 12 SEC Challenge today, SportsCenter tonight after the X Games on ESPN and the ESPN app. It has been a big day in college basketball. I mentioned Virginia winning at Duke. SEC, hey, it was Dewey defeats Truman. It was like the 48 presidential election. It looked like the Big 12 was going to win it. And the SEC gets wins from Kentucky and Arkansas to win the challenge, Malcolm, for the first time.
Wow, I tell you what, Avery Johnson, what a job he's done with that Alabama program. As we take a look at a beautiful lob for the Monster Jam, and it was set up perfectly.
Love Avery Johnson. Loved him as a player. Love what he's doing at Alabama. They get the win over Oklahoma. And then West Virginia was up big on Kentucky in Morgantown and lost the lead. A set play here maybe by Dan Muller to get Illinois State this look.
Yeah, and it was beautifully timed, and the pass was on point. No communication by Valpo, and the hat right there showing off the hops. But the key thing in that, the pass was right on target.
Some teams really closely gauge how many times they score off media timeouts underneath OB. Kind of the special teams of college basketball, and Phil Fain, Malcolm's having a big first half. 12 in this first 20 minutes for Phil Fain.
Another nice pass that time by Yarbrough, and we're seeing some nice interior passing both teams, but Illinois State now in the last two possessions not settling for three-point shots.
Phil Fain has yet to miss a shot, 5 of 5, and now Illinois State's got the ball in their biggest lead of the first half.
That's twice now. Both teams, nobody on the offensive glass after shots, and that's something coaches want to see. At least get one guy or two guys on the offensive glass trying to get an offensive board.
Smith's great hands by Williams. And Smith's the sin of bringing the ball down below his waist as a 7-footer, but now Valpo gets redemption. Smith slipping, going to the line. Hey, coming up on the Land Rover halftime report, John Berkeley and Tom Crean we're going to check in with more details on the Big 12 SEC Challenge that went to the SEC, and then also ACC hoops highlights and some upsets. 28-20, Illinois State with the advantage at home. Welcome back to our Saturday Showcase presented by 5-Hour Energy. Mitch Holt is with you along with Malcolm Huckabee. Looking at Phil Fain, has yet to miss a shot, and he has no offensive rebounds because you know about 7 of those are coming later in the game. The other thing is Illinois State, just to remind you, the home of Doug Collins when he played here in the 70s. You have to go all the way back to 1973, Malcolm, the last time Duke and Carolina lost at home on the same day, and it happened today. NC State wins at Carolina, and Virginia wins at Duke in the ACC today.
Well, what a player Doug Collins was. He's still the all-time leading scorer in Illinois State history. This guy put up over 2,200 points in 3 seasons without a shot clock, without the three-point line, and he did it in 3 seasons. I'd say he was a pretty prolific scorer.
Boy, Evans struggles at a pass. The old-fashioned shot pass. Boogie Tinsley will take it. Keyshawn's looking at the table going, give me an assist. He'll struggle shooting it, though. And McMillan out of options, and right now Valpo's offense has left them.
Well, they're making it hard on themselves. Smits has been the guy that has been a good option for him. They need to continue to run their offense through him.
What a half for Phil Fain. And Valpo will call timeout. Phil Fain, perfect.
Right now,
6 for 6, 2 for 2 at the line.
Well, Valpo has not had any answer for Phil Fain in this first half. He has been on fire. Mid-range game has been on point right here. Just raise up over a guy. We talked about his offensive rebound, but Illinois State's doing a nice job in pick and rolls with their interior passing, finding Fain, and he has finished off. It's just been beautiful basketball by Phil Fain. Little fake spin move, come back with the left.
mentioned Doug Collins. This kid is third in Illinois State history in field goal shooting percentage. Again, he had 11 of 12 in a game at Southern Illinois. That's one of the top 10 performances in the country this year. He's ready to eclipse that tonight at 6 of 6 from the field and 2 of 2 at the line.
Well, his career field goal percentage after this game is going to be above 60%. And we talked about his efficiency, and I really like, though, the way that he attacks the offensive glass.
And Tavon Walker just 4 in the game, and he has struggled. Walker, the veteran guard, 1 of 5 from the field, and Fain is having the night.
Valpo has not hit a 3 yet in this game, and really just, at some point you got to tell him, look, it's not working for us. We got to try to either dribble, drive, get the ball to the hole, or again, run your offense through Derek Smith.
Another bucket for Fain. 7 of 7 on the tote board. What a half for Phil Fain. Junior college transfer from Western Nebraska Community College in Scotts Bluff. Evelyn gets the bucket, but Phil Fain has been the show. Illinois State leading by 11 at halftime. After the short break, we'll go to the studio for our Land Rover halftime report. Welcome back to our Saturday showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. Again with America's Renaissance Conference. The Missouri Valley Conference tonight, Illinois State leading the Valparaiso Crusaders 34-23 here at Redbird Arena in Normal, Illinois. Mitch Holt is back with you, along with Malcolm Huckabee. Phil Fain has put on a clinic. He hasn't missed a shot. He's 7 of 7 from the field and 2 of 2 at the line.
Yeah, he was so efficient in that first half from the floor. And Illinois State did a nice job finding him in situations where he was able to just catch, shoot, and finish. And he did that. He was on fire in the first half. We're going to take a look at a nice little mid-range game. And that interior passing by Illinois State was on point when they found Fain. This is just a great individual move. Take the hit and then finish. And at some point, Valpo may have to think about double-teaming him because they had no answer for him when they went man-to-man in single coverage.
Fain's done it before. He had 24 points in 2 separate games, including that game where he was 11 of 12 at Southern Illinois. Again, one of the top 10 performances this year in the country, but he could eclipse that tonight if he stays on this. Frustrating for Valpo on the offensive end.
Yeah, it's just really inconsistent, and then I think trying to go to the matchup that works for him as they continue to go to Fain, and they're going to have to double. I mean, look, he's had his way in the first half. He's picking up right where he left off in the second. You got to double. If not, he's going to wind up with 30 points in this game.
Well, if he leaves the floor right now, he would have the all-time Illinois State record, 8 of 8 for field goals, tying the record. Anthony Slack back in 2008. And Valparaiso finally gets a badly needed basket.
That's 9 points now for Derek Smith, and really the lone bright spot for Valpo in that first half. And when they gave him some touches, he was able to produce. But I like the changeup by Coach Matt Loddick going to a 1-3-1 zone. Because really right now, man-to-man, they have had really no answer for Phil Fain.
Well, Yarbrough's looking for him too. And it's going to be an offensive foul. Fain picks up the moving screen. That is his second foul. Now, he had problems. I had his game Wednesday night. He got 2 early fouls in a game in Northern Iowa. And that just kind of threw him off kilter for the rest of the game. And that's only a second here as we're just starting the second half.
Well, let's see if Valpo goes to Smits. See if they get him a touch.
There's your touch. Too much touch.
He's got to do a better job, though, of gathering himself. He's got great position.
And a technical. But the Redbirds get an athletic play from Madison Williams, the sophomore from Augusta, Georgia.
Well, let me introduce you to Madison Williams. If you don't know the name, show off the hops. That right there, Sports Center top 10. Madison Williams showing off the hops and screaming.
But it's the taunt at the end that leads to this, as Bakari Evelyn will get the tosses at the other end for Valpo. But Williams, now this is an athletic Illinois State team. We've seen Boogie Tinsley. It's been hopping around tonight.
Well, we're going to take a look at Madison Williams in the open court. Nobody picks up the ball. Take off, young man.
We all know the sportsmanship points of emphasis here, and that comes into play. Now Valpo gets the 2 technical free throws.
I think it's the right call, though, by the referees. You can't do that. And they don't want any taunting or anything like that extracurricular after the play. And well, they're going to call that every time. But Madison Williams, my goodness.
Monster rim rammers get energized, the Illinois State student body here. Pretty good crowd here tonight at Redbird Arena in the late 9 o'clock local time start. And a tie-up. And now Matt Loddick, he thought Njai was over the back of Tavon Walker. Valpo gets the arrow. They just flipped it a moment ago.
Nice job that time by Tavon Walker blocking out, using his upper body strength to ward off the much taller Njai.
Outstanding up and under move by Derek Smits. He has got double digits. He's got 11 to lead Valpo.
And that's what I'm talking about, gathering himself, not just throwing it up. Gather yourself and then go up strong. That's a nice move by Derek Smith, and he continues to get great post position.
But the Redbirds answer with the 3. And Keyshawn Evans, one of the top 25 players in the country in three-point makes, attempts, and percentage. And Njai was trying to defend inside, but Derek Smits just getting started really in his career.
Well, his dad, one of the best bigs in the history in the NBA, and he certainly would be proud of this right here. Gather yourself, then go up strong. And if I'm Valpo, I'm going right back at Derek Smits.
A rough night for the veteran Walker. 1 of 8 from the field.
And for me, that's almost like a turnover because they have not made a 3 tonight in this game, and Derek Smith has been the hot hand. You got to continue to go at him. Don't settle for contested jumpers. Smart move by Illinois State going to the zone. Seeing that Valpo is struggling shooting the ball from beyond the arc. They're almost daring them to get the ball out in the perimeter.
Boy, Fain, outstanding defense to get Smits in an uncomfortable position. And Fain, finally the offensive rebound, again the best in the league in that category. 66 offensive rebounds this year. Fain, an absolute bird dog, his first miss of the night. And a foul on Valpo.
We're going to take a look at Madison Williams Sports Center. I think we got a top 10 nominee. Madison Williams, show him your hops.
ESPN has two great games this week on Big Monday, presented by Joseph A. Bank. First at 7 Eastern, Notre Dame faces an angry Duke team at Cameron. They lost today. Then at 9, K-State's the hottest team right now in the Big 12. They've won 5 of the last 6. They'll entertain Kansas in the Sunflower Showdown. Both games can be seen on the ESPN app. That'll be Monday at 9 in the Big 12. And Marvin Bagley III, big game today. 30 points, 14 rebounds in the loss to Virginia. But man, he can be dominant.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty impressive numbers right there, averaging a double-double. And certainly he is a one and done. Just a phenomenal talent.
In the meantime, Phil Fain makes up for his one miss by getting another make. He's got 20 points. We got a long way to go in this one. His career high is 24.
Illinois State continues to do a nice job in the zone. They're very active in the passing lanes and making it difficult for Valpo to get any penetration whatsoever. If you're Valpo, you're going to have to try to get it in that high post area. But you can't do it that way. Just
Jaime Soroya slams into Fain and gets the offensive foul for the Crusaders.
Really just been a struggle all night for Valpo offensively to get anything going, and turnovers, really some ill-advised shots. And the only good thing is their defense has been okay in this game. They've held Illinois State to a low percentage from beyond the arc, below 20. So
Tinsley, though, they catch in the land of milk and honey against that Valpo zone, and Boogie Tinsley's got 6. Valpo started 8-0. They had a win over Utah State in the Mountain West Missouri Valley Conference Challenge, and it looked like they were ready to roll. Remember last year, 26-win team, 24-win team with Alec Peters now playing for the Phoenix Suns. He got injured late in the year, and then 2 years ago they got all the way to the NIT Finals in the postseason. But where do you start with these guys? It's like it's just getting frustrating for them.
Well, across their roster, they're very young. So, that's what you're going to get with youth in terms of inconsistent play, and that's really been their Achilles heel. As we take a look at Devon Walker with degree of difficulty shot off the charts, but somehow he was able to get it to go in. But that's been the story for them. It's been a struggle. Even when they make shots, it's been really difficult.
They try to get stops consecutively. Now they have that chance. If they can score here, they're going to throw it away. And clearance fouled by Tavon Walker. Yeah, here's your season in a nutshell. Started out 8-0 and 3-11 in the last 14.
Well, I really think, a couple of things. I talked about the youth, the turnovers. You look at their turnover numbers in league play, it's upside down. More turnovers than they have assists, so obviously that's really difficult. But I think really the youth, in particular the breakdowns on the defensive side, as we see a look at them fouling a three-point shooter, that really has been what has driven Matt Loddick.
Bakari Evelyn with the infraction out on Keyshawn Evans.
And again, it's just a poor closeout. And Evans, we talked about his numbers coming into this game, shooting 46% from the three-point line. You have to be there with him. You can't be late on your closeouts. And if you are, you certainly don't want to compound it by fouling him and putting him on the free throw line.
He's coming off a game midweek at 6 threes at Northern Iowa. They rallied. They were down 30 at one point and made it a game because Evans got hot from 3.
Well, there's certain guys you don't leave. I think back to my playing days. You guard a guy like Ray Allen. You didn't leave. You didn't help off with him. You know, the Kerry Kittles of the world, Terry DeHares. You did not help off those guys, and that's just really understanding and recognizing the scouting report. A guy like Evans, you can't give him any airspace.
And Soroya with the moving screen. Frustrating night. Played at Sunrise Christian Academy, Buddy Heald's alma mater, in Wichita, Kansas. He'll sit down. He played on Spain's under-20 Euro team, but he's had good moments this year. Tonight, though, has been a real frustrating evening for him. Clarence has given Illinois State some minutes tonight, and then he gives it right back to him. And Tom O'Neill's going to call the foul on Illinois State. Malik Yarbrough gets the foul. Again, Valpo 0 for 10 from three-point range.
That's difficult, whether you're at home or on the road. You go 0 for in the game. There's a pretty good chance you're going to be trailing, and that's the case for Valpo right now.
Max Joseph at the line. He and Tavon Walker, number 2 for Valpo, both from Montreal, Quebec. Both play at Vanier College in Quebec. That's the equivalent of high school there. But the league adjustment for them in their senior year, what is that? How tough is that on those guys to make a league adjustment to your last year of eligibility?
Well, we showed some of the RPI numbers for the league, and not an easy league to play in.
Valpo try to climb back in. Keyshawn Evans will have something to say about it. Illinois State in control here by 14, although the place has gone to the Birds. Our Saturday showcase presented by 5 Hour Energy. And tomorrow we got a heck of a game. Now, Northern Iowa's made a living being a bracket buster in 2010. Remember their win over Kansas in 2016, their last second shot to beat Texas. If you're a bracket buster this year tomorrow, watch this one, folks, on ESPN. You and I'll have the Loyola Chicago Ramblers. What about that club?
They are very good. Clayton Custer, one of the best guards, I'm going to say, not just in the Valley, but in the country. He is that good of a point guard, and they are balanced. They got a big in Krutwig that they can do some damage down low in the block, and then they are very well coached and a solid defensive club. Not too many holes in their game, and we talked about it early on in the season. They went down to Florida, who was then number 5 in the country, and beat them on the road, on their home court, without one of their best players.
They're 15-1 with Custer. He missed 5 games due to injury. They got some other guys to go along with him. You mentioned the big Krutwig, but there's some other guys as well. And just Porter Moser just keeps adding pieces to that Rambler team. So if you're kind of thinking, who are the bracket busters out there, watch our game tomorrow at 4 Eastern, 3 Central. Pressure, too much pressure. And even Evans has his first foul for Illinois State. Go back to Loyola. They have Andre Jackson, kind of a stretch 5-4 combo guy. They're deeper. They just have more guys. Last year they got tired. They had Milton Doyle, the Kansas transfer, outstanding player from Chicago, Simeon. But Knockham, they just got tired late. They got more troops this year, man. They are dangerous. Fain has been dangerous all night. He's missed 1 shot from the field.
Again, another beautiful setup by Malik Yarbrough. And it's just been all Illinois State. Malik Yarbrough setting up Phil Fain for the easy two-handed slam. Illinois State has been rolling.
Biggest lead of the game for Illinois State here in our Saturday showcase, presented by 5-Hour Energy. We're talking about Bracket Buster. Not too early to start searching for Bracket Busters, so let's talk bracketology. SEC now, the Big 12 was thought to be the best league, still is, but they lose the SEC Challenge today. And then the ACC thought to be 9, but go to the bottom of the list, Malcolm, the West Coast. That's where you start thinking Bracket Busters. Gonzaga and St. Mary are those two. And there's others we could throw out there. What do you see on bracketology?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's always fun this time of the year. Joey Brackett's putting together, and I already gave you one of my sleepers out of this conference right here as we take a look at some nice interior passing. One of the few really good offensive possessions in the last 5 to 10 minutes for Valpo, but they're certainly going to need to get more stops on the defensive end if they want to get back into this game.
Most people know about St. Mary's and Gonzaga. Can I give you my 3? Because you and I agree on Loyola Chicago. You don't want to draw them on Selection Sunday. The other 2 that come to mind for me are East Tennessee State, the Buccaneers of Steve Forbes. Look out for those guys. And Nevada. Coach Musselman's Nevada team. He's been building that squad for about the last 2 years. And I'm not sure you want to play Nevada on the first couple of weekends.
I played against Musselman back in the old USBL when he was coaching in the minor leagues of the pros. And I tell you what, former NBA coach, just one of the great basketball minds.
Heck of a team in Reno. Heck of a team in Chicago that we'll see tomorrow. And tonight in this game, it's been Phil Fain to have a heck of a night. Really one of the record evenings in Illinois State history. And this is a program with great tradition.
Well, I guess the only thing you can take from this right now, if you're Coach Matt Loddick and Valpo, is that your guys are continuing to play hard and get after it on the floor, as you saw on that last play there. But the execution just is not there right now for Valpo.
It's almost like Valpo. You wish they could say, we're going to have a bye week here and try to fix this, but you just have to fix it on the fly.
And the problem in this league, as we've really referenced all night, there are really no easy outs and no room to breathe. The road certainly is not going to get any easier for Valpo.
And again, Valpo, no 3s tonight. 0 for 11. That stands. It'll be the first time since 2011 they've had a bagel from 3. And Yarbrough, a little frustrated.
And that's not a good foul by Malik. One of the few breakdowns we've seen. He's had a nice floor game for Illinois State, setting up his teammates. He scored when he needed to, but right there, that's when he's got to let go.
And we're here in Normal, Illinois. Saturday showcase presented by 5-Hour Energy. Mitch Holtis with you, along with Malcolm Huckabee. In the Valley, Illinois State, team that's very athletic, had some excellent non-conference wins. Won at Ole Miss, swept Tulsa. Also beat South Carolina. Valparaiso, the brand new Valley team that is now 2-7 in the Valley. They're trying not to go 2-8. They get a bucket from their leader, Tavon Walker.
Walker continues to play hard on both ends, and that's just, again, a nice individual move. He's so strong in his upper body and his ability to get by guys and then take the hit and finish. Now, that is one of his strong points.
Valpo has not beaten Illinois State since February of 1945. These two schools aren't that far apart. Now they're in the same league, but 2.5 hours away, and finally matched up again. It's been since '81 since they played. guys are a little too much double team. As he picks up his third foul.
And that's continues again, the breakdowns. And that's not a good foul. You're trying to double against Phil Fain, a guy that's been really person you've been unable to stop tonight. You got to be able to double without fouling, putting him on the line. Now they catch a break because he misses the free throw, but
a little hesitation taking Walker off the rhythm. He gets a shot as he runs to the other end. Frustrating night for Valpo from 3. And the bucket, Elijah Clarence, the native of Sweden, gets the reverse layup, and Illinois State expands its lead to 17, the biggest of the night. There's the one offensive bright spot tonight for Valpo. It's 15 for Derek Smits, and Malcolm, that's a career high.
Yeah, he's played a nice game for Valpo, and that's a nice setup for Evelyn.
Out of bounds to Valpo, Illinois State in control. Question here, what do the Illinois State Redbirds and the 1947 Brooklyn Dodgers have in common? You won't want to miss it. We'll be back after this. Illinois State leading big over the Valparaiso Crusaders in the Missouri Valley Conference, 56-41. Branch Rickey had the guts in the 1947 Brooklyn Dodgers to put Jackie Robinson on the field. There's another Robinson that deserves mention in a similar story. Will Robinson, Malcolm, the first African-American head coach in Division I history at Illinois State.
And it might be one of the most important moments in college sports history, where what he was able to do, and we're going to get into what he did with Doug Collins, but the guts that you said it took by this whole athletic department to hire Will Robinson, and he paved the way for so many others, but he was the first, and this school was the first to open up that door for so many that came afterwards. It just really is a phenomenal moment, and I think, again, you have to put it right up there with probably one of the most important moments in college sports history.
It is a very undertold story, and it's right here at Illinois State where it happened. The AD's name was Milt Weisbecker, who said, let's give Coach a chance. And then he was successful here. Illinois State was a Division I independent at the time. And Doug Collins flourished here all the way to the cover of Sports Illustrated. Of course, one of the greatest college players of all time and one of the greatest pro players of all time. But Illinois State gave the chance to Will Robinson.
Well, if you have not heard the story or do not know the story, I would suggest you go Google it and find video on it. It's really probably one of the most chilling documentaries that you will watch and moments in history. But again, Will Robinson and this Illinois State program taking the guts and what they had to go through after they hired him and what he was able to overcome. Really, it's just a phenomenal story, but a remarkable story in American history.
You say Will Robinson was a high school golfer, but they didn't allow him to practice. He had to play it. I mean, it was a crazy story growing up in Ohio, right?
He was, again, 5 sports he lettered in. He was also a golfer, and yeah, there was a time where he was playing for a championship, and because of segregation at the time, he wasn't allowed to have a practice round, and he had to go out there basically and play by himself. And again, what type of person he was, he finished second in that event, but just a phenomenal part of history right here at Illinois State.
Well, it's been somewhat of a historic night for the Redbirds tonight, especially with Phil Fain and the night he has had, with 10 of 11 from the field and 22 points. And a 3 by Evans. We talked about the big 3 of Yarbrough, Evans and Fain. And And they have teamed up for almost 50 points tonight. ESPN, 2 great games this week. Big Monday, presented by Joseph A. Bank. Duke hosts Notre Dame, trying to get healthy. That's at 7 Eastern. Then a big-time, big money matchup in the Big 12. Kansas State's won 5 of the last 6. Their only loss, 1 point at Lawrence. Now it's rematch at the Octagon of Doom. It'll be Monday night at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, Sunflower Showdown. Both games can be seen on the ESPN app. We talked about our Mount Rushmore, the big 3, and then put on Dan Muller's head under the head coach, but look what they've done tonight.
Well, we talked about keys to the game at the beginning, what Valpo needed to do, and it started off with Yarbrough, but the big 3, they needed to keep them under control, but that has not been the case. Phil Fain really has had his way all night against his Valpo D.
Valpo finally able to slice inside against the Illinois State zone. And Walker will go to the line for the Crusaders. And Yarbrough now has his 4th foul. That's 9 team fouls on the Redbirds here in the second half. Still 6:06 to go, so Dan Muller will hand a water bottle to Yarbrough here and tell him to sit down, just relax for a second with those 4 fouls.
Walker, what an impressive career, though, he has had at Valpo. Over 1,000 points for his career, and one of the better defenders that the Horizon, and now also in the Missouri Valley Conference, has seen really good on-ball defender.
Evans trying to run the point. Remember last year, Paris Lee, Evans got to be the vice president. This year he's had to have the ball in his hands and the responsibility. Frustrating for Valpo as Illinois State gets the offensive rebound. Fain's in the middle of your screen. Again, the huge night for him. Man, his length, though, is kind of sneaky, isn't it?
It is.
And he can hop, but his length is...
And I think that's what makes him such a good offensive rebounder, his length, but also he's so active. And as you said at the beginning, he goes after every offensive rebound. And big reason why he led the team last year with 88 offensive rebounds.
He's got 60. Almost 70 more this year. Fain absolutely has the radar on the ball all the time. That ties his career high at 24.
Right on cue. Any shot that goes up, you can bet that Phil Fain is going to go and try to get an offensive rebound putback. That's just a great individual effort move, and the timing to go along with the length just makes him a lethal person to keep off the offensive glass.
I mean, his GPS is tracking the ball when he runs on the floor for warm-ups. 9 rebounds tonight. Mentioned tying his career high at 24. He's only missed 1 shot. But you better get a body on him and get the manager to get a body on him, because he is going to find it and put it back.
Yeah, my playing days, I just hated guarding guys like that. Michael Smith reminds me a little bit of him, former Providence star. Guy had long NBA career as well, too, but made his mark just being a great offensive rebounder. He was just relentless on the glass, and no fun to block guys like that out.
Still no threes tonight for Valpo. And we got men down. And Fain might be seriously injured here. He's grabbing his left knee. Unless it's just a knee knock.
It's definitely a hard crash. All three guys getting after it on the loose ball, and yeah, that did not look good. But Thane is up, but he's limping.
Yeah, you saw it looked like knees knocked, but you also saw it twist awkwardly, perhaps. And Thane, his team leading by 17 on a memorable night for him. 11 of 12 from the field and 24 points and 9 boards.
Looks like they're just going to walk him straight back to the locker room. And certainly that's not what you want to see. All right, they're going to take a look at him out on the court, but certainly does not look good. Gingerly, he is walking on that knee.
They go to Missouri State for their next game in Springfield. And Missouri State is struggling. They lost again today at home to Southern Illinois. Again tomorrow, Malcolm and I will be in Chicago. ESPNU game at 4 Eastern, 3 Central. Loyola Chicago, the team right now that is ruling the roost, and a team that could definitely be a bracket buster. Joseph lays it in and gets Valpo within 15.
Well, it seems like it's 30 or 40, and it's still only 15-point game.
Yarborough flashes to the void, and he'll be rewarded at the line. Illinois State trying to even up their record in the Valley at 5-5.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get back to 100%.
Some bird watching tonight on our Saturday showcase presented by 5-Hour Energy. Illinois State leading Valpo here 63-48. Man, what a day, Malcolm, it has been in college basketball. UVA wins at Duke. NC State wins at Carolina. Trae Young and Colin Sexton had their showdown in the SEC Big 12 Challenge, won by the SEC, by the way.
Well, what jumps out that knee is Virginia. And my second college game was down at Cameron. I can tell you from personal experience, it's not easy to win there. And what they're able to do defensively, Virginia, it's just phenomenal what Tony Bennett has done with that program, and just how difficult they make it for you to score with that pack line defense. And they did the same today against Duke.
We're going to get all that and more. College Basketball Live Show presented by Buick. We'll have John Brickley and Tom Crean looking at that. But I want to ask you about Virginia. Are they the best team we don't talk about enough? I mean, I'm not sure we talk about them and Purdue enough right now.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, we talk about other things, other programs, but all they do is go out, win games, and consistently make it difficult for you to score. And I agree, Purdue and also Virginia, two teams. And I'll have to throw Villanova in there as well, too. Now, I know they won a national championship, but it just seems like nobody's really talking about them. And Jalen Brunson, one of my favorite players to watch in college basketball. Played against his dad, Rick, and he was at Temple, but I would throw Villanova in there as well, too, a team that's, I dare say, underappreciated.
That win by Valpo, by win by UVA today at Duke, their first since the mid-90s. I think they've lost 17 straight times here. Smits with a career-high 17, the bright spot for the Crusaders. Boy, I feel for Matt Loddick. You know, all these teams that make these conference transitions, there is just always a period of trying to figure it out. I can't think of many teams that have made the move and just tore it up in their first year in whatever league they moved to.
Well, it's a couple of things. You know, different styles of play. Obviously, the level of competition going up as well. But I think the biggest thing for Valpo, their youth. They are a very young team. And you take a look at Nice shot by Tavon Walker, a little turnaround jumper, but their youth shows on both ends, defensively and offensively. They put together 2 or 3 good plays, but then they have those lapses for those 5 or 6 plays, and they just can't dig themselves out of these deep holes that they dig.
Walker trying to get a steal. He's actually second in the league in steals, Tavon Walker. But they call him for his 4th personal foul, and Yarborough goes to the line for Illinois State. These Valpo seniors, this is where you get the ready to turn the calendar to February. As frustrating as it's been, again, they started 8-0 Valpo, and you can see that they lose this tonight. They go to 11-12. And how much does their senior leadership have to kind of pull everybody together and go, hey, we got to fix this, but don't just get so beat down that you mail it in.
Well, that's the one thing we talked with Matt Laddick about today after shoot-around, and he said, look, one of the things I've been pleased with this group is that they continue to battle as they've done in this game. He said, we just need to cut down, though, on the mental mistakes on both ends, in particular on the defensive side.
Valpo and Matt Laddick finally gets a 3 for his team. 1 of 15 from three-point range.
And that's really all you have to say on the road. I'm really surprised that they're still really, only down by this much. Again, you shoot 1 for 15, you have the turnovers that they've had. But their defense, again, their defense continues to show flashes that they're able to get some stops, but offensively it really has been a struggle.
The big 3 tonight for Illinois State. Yarborough, Fain, and Evans, 57 combined points, and now Valpo, that went all night without a 3, gets back-to-back possessions with the 3.
It's hard to believe, but it's only a 12-point game right now, minute 49. And again, like I said, it seemed like they're down 30. And here we are, 149, a game that really Illinois State has controlled. They're only down 12. Valpo still within striking distance. I definitely have seen games where teams have come back down 12 with a minute 49 to go.
Hey, you had a crazy game Thursday night at Tulane.
Same scenario.
There was fingernails all over that game from the South Florida Bulls. Tulane almost came back to win that game. All right, let's take a look at the Valley on America's Renaissance Conference. They have, it's been a great year already for the Valley, and Loyola Chicago leads the way. Now, Southern Illinois is rallying. They win at Missouri State today as Barry Hinson wins at his old place where he used to coach. And then people wondered, Wichita State leaves the league, what's going to happen? Well, this is a league where all of its teams are above, when you look at the matrix, above around that 175, 180. Every team in the league, the only non-power team to do it. So the league has got 6 power wins, power 5 wins this year. It's been an okay start for the league.
It really has, and I think the key word and theme, balance. Top to bottom, really it's a solid league in terms of the quality of teams and also the quality of coaching. It really has been impressive and fun to watch.
Evelyn and Yarbrough's just fouled out of the game. So Fain left with an injury. He is yet to return. He's back onto the bench, but I think they're going to let him set the rest of this one out at 14. And Yarbrough disqualified at 1:30 to go in the game.
Well, it's going to come down to free throw shooting and taking care of the ball if you're Illinois State. Obviously can not have any turnovers, but they just take care of the ball and make some free throws. It looks like they're going to come out of here with the win.
Their big 3 is combined tonight, Malcolm, for 57 points. When Illinois State wins, those 3 average 56 points combined. When they lose, 42. It's the 3 of the 4 faces on the Mount Rushmore, and Dan Muller's the 4th here at Illinois State. Evelyn has had all the threes for Valpo. That's only 2. And Gassman's going to get free throws at the other end for Illinois State. Look at what Valpo has coming up. They'll host Indiana State in their next game. That'll be at the Arc, they call it, their home place in Valparaiso, Indiana. Then they go back on the road at Southern Illinois and Evansville. You know, they went a month that didn't have a home game. They went from November 28th to December 28th and did not play at home. And if the Redbirds are going to jump back in and try to... And there's always the battle cry of avoiding Thursday in Arch Madness. Want to get at least 6 or above in the seeding. Because they don't want to have to win 4 in 4 days in St. Louis. All right, Malcolm, let's take a look at the Redbirds, what they have up coming up. What do you see here?
Well, it certainly looks favorable. Evansville, though, a tough team to defend against. But going back to your earlier stat, when their big 3 is playing well, Illinois State is a really solid team and a team that could get some wins. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the mix toward the end of the Valley Conference play.
You and I have the rematch of these two teams. That'll be on ESPNU on February the 11th. And then the I-74 war, they call it, only 40 miles apart. They do not like Bradley, and Bradley does not like them. And Bradley is undefeated at home this year, and they will host Illinois State on Valentine's Day. There won't be any Valentine's exchange between those two schools. I'm telling you, it's the best rivalry in this league.
Yeah, that one right there should be fun on Valentine's Day. And, you know, certainly they took care of business tonight at the big 3. See if they can hold on and get the win against Valpo.
Evans will take his 16 points to the line. Minor college basketball live coming up after we leave here in Normal, Illinois, in maybe the most exciting day in college basketball so far. A couple of thrilling upsets in the ACC today. The SEC gets 2 late wins. Kentucky gets a road win at West Virginia. Tennessee won big on the road at Iowa State. Arkansas was able to beat Oklahoma State, and that was enough to give the SEC their first ever challenge victory over the Big 12. These threes have come way too late for the Crusaders. Now Evans turns it over. And you can see they still miss Paris Lee. I mean, he's the player of the year last year in the Valley, but they gave him, I mean, he was running everything. And I know we're at the end of January, but you can tell they still miss him.
Also the defensive player of the year. That's just really a lot of production you're missing. In particular, end-of-game situations.
Laid in by Madison Williams this time. He had the thunder dunk, the throwdown earlier in the game. But he used it all up on that one. Finger rolls it in.
Well, I would not be surprised to see his dunk earlier in the game show up on SportsCenter.
He had time to bring a couple cars out and put them there and jump over the cars. It's like, what are you doing, Madison? You had the crazy dunk earlier. He was a little tired for that one.
I'm gonna give him a pass after what we saw earlier.
Yeah, that was legit.
We got him listed as 6'3", 6'4". That might be generous in his hops, though. I don't know what his vertical is, but it definitely looked like more than 40 on that dunk.
Illinois State's going to get it done. They're going to even everything up at 11-11 and 5-5 in the Valley. And for Valpo, they got to try to get some oxygen back in their lungs and try to get something going into February. Dan Muller's team gets the victory at home. Phil Fain, one a night, tying his career high, 24 points, 11 of 12 from the field, Malcolm. He was outstanding. Final score, Illinois State 76, Valpo 65. Up next, it's College Basketball Live. Good night from Normal, Illinois. I'm Mitch Oltis for Malcolm Huckabee. Let's go to the studio and College Basketball Live.